If you had to put $100 of your own money on who you think will take the prize purse first, who do you think it would be?
That's a savage question.
The 2025 World Cup downhill season sees 4 elite teams going head-to-head to be the first to win a downhill race with a Gates belt drive. The first to do so will claim the €100,000 prize purse.
That's a good question. Millie. She's got to beat Valley though.
It's a tough one. I mean, there's a lot of good riders that can be riding on the Gates belt.
Eleonora's stood on a top set of the podium last year, so she's a chance.
Crazy not to say Charlie Hatton. I'll back my guy.
I would definitely bank on myself.
I think Hattie Harden's going to do it. Hattie's the one.
Yeah, my money's on Charlie for sure.
I feel like Rachel is the one.
I think we'll all be competitive. I'm just really excited to see that just the gearbox alone on these 4 different brands, seeing the riders that were not on gearboxes last year go to gearboxes next year to see if they improve and how much improvement they have.
Tiny margins, but tiny margins win races, so everyone's pushing for them.
Ever since downhill racing existed, every single gold medal has been won with a chain. But 4 teams have committed to going with belts and gearboxes. And it's going to be so exciting to see if any of them can actually win. Today, a group of very special individuals have been invited into the Welsh Valleys to not race, but they'll be timed not racing.
Today we're doing like a little not a race thing at Bike Park Wales. We've got some of the best riders from the UK here. And yeah, they've basically got an open timing day and they've said, go wild. The first day, for me anyway, where I'm timing against other people.
Yeah, it's pretty simple actually. Where? You get distracted when you get to here.
Yeah, if it wasn't for Gates, I think a good half of this excitement that we've created kind of wouldn't be there. You know, it's like them offering a sum of money like 100,000 to win a World Cup is unheard of in our sport.
Confidence for a lot of the riders on these bikes is going to be high because they feel like they've got that edge. Definitely I think about bike setup and the technical side of it an awful lot. I'm no mechanical engineer, I have no qualifications in engineering design, but I am a very, very in-tune rider, and I just know that I hate chains, I hate mechs, and I love waiting at the bottom of the bike. So it's like, I really want to make this happen. Now over to you boys, how do we design a bike that makes this happen?
I mean, Gates took me up to Montsanan a couple of years ago and we discussed teams and belts, and sometime after that they came up with this idea of the $100,000 bounty, and by all accounts it's been quite a driver for a couple of other brands.
Zeroeds they've been pioneers of gearboxes from day one. They've never wavered from it. They've always known that that's where the sport needs to go for gravity downhill and gravity mountain biking in general.
It was non-negotiable, and it still is, you know, like I'm not going to go out there and start a brand where I just want to make bikes to compete with what's out there. I want a unique solution to my personal concept around what mountain biking should be. Belts and gearboxes are going to be part of that, and they have been for more than 20 years now.
He linked up with a guy called Doddsy, who's a reasonably famous New Zealand downhiller from back in the day, and they collectively built the bike that Doddsy could go and race overseas. That was in the days of the G1 and the G2.
Philosophies in the design. One was high pivot, familiar with motorcycle suspension design, plugged in mountain bike variables, and these vague pivot positions popped out. That was a starting point, and then obviously reducing the unsprung mass and then mass centralisation. These kind of concepts that are familiar and consistent throughout all suspended vehicles. You know, reduce the unsprung weight and centralise the mass, and so that's what our bikes reflected. At some point after the first production runs, I cut up a chainstay and made a belt-driven one, and immediately for me it was a nicer solution. You know, it's quiet, you never have to lube it, you never drop them, they never wear out, and all this kind of resonated with my philosophy for the bikes, which was a better riding experience. The hardest thing about making a viable race bike is getting the best riders to race your bikes. You know, It does feel like right now there is a lot more interest in the bikes, and so maybe we're on the cusp of another breakthrough moment. You know? I think they say overnight success takes 10 years, and so maybe that's what we're seeing.
If you were designing a bike from scratch, from the ground up now, would you put a derailleur on the back hanging around on the end of your bike? Probably not. This feels like a really interesting way to get around that and make a bike that's fast and has the weight in all the right places.
The Athertons are like the purest racers, like they are. You can't argue with that. To develop a bike for downhill, then I don't think they're going to compromise a lot. If I'm sat here now, I would think it's the way forward. If there's an advantage to be had there, then why wouldn't you have it? Especially if you're developing like new bikes like the Athertons.
We decided to start this project, and then within 3 months we had a rideable prototype. I imagine that there's a few people around the world wishing they could make one, but it's just not going to work. The timelines don't work, the investment isn't worth it for them, and they're kind of tied by that. But I think we can't be the only ones seeing the benefits of it. So I'm sure there's some slightly frustrated product managers out there wishing they could.
But today we're going to go and play the tape in Wales, Bike Park, Wales, for the race.
With just 7 weeks to go until the first World Cup downhill event, the racers eligible for the €100,000 prize purse are eager to find out where they might be sitting amongst the field after a long off-season.
Really good to actually finally do some fast laps and actually try and push and go faster rather than just kind of cruising down. So yeah, I'm pretty cooked now.
Yeah, I'm really excited for this season. I feel like this winter I've put in the most I have ever before.
The belt drive bikes are super quiet, and Charlie was the fastest, but quite a lot. But it wasn't a race. It's not a race. So we don't know if that result will actually transfer to the World Cups, but Charlie was going really fast.
Yeah, for me, I'm still riding around corners multiple times and coming out the other side going, wow, could have went twice as fast there, you know? And that's just that mental block of your brain going, nope, this is normally the speed limit. And we're all experiencing that.
This year will be tallied. If people start winning on them, they'll all be scrapping to get gearboxes on their bikes. Simple as that.
It's going to get close to the end of the season, and then Rachel Atherton's going to be like, all right, let's go. And she's going to turn up to the last round and win it or something like that. I feel like Rachel is the one.
That pressure on my back of, right, you've got the rainbow jersey here, there's no excuses. You shouldn't be up there really.
And Intense obviously have such an insane heritage in World Cup downhill.
To me, it's the next progression. I like the idea of getting rid of a derailleur on a downhill bike.
Say us and the Athertons close to the top, Zero not far behind.
I think there's going to be problems as well that come with a new thing.
My heart was absolutely set on being a professional motocross racer. Step one, let's just eliminate the drivetrain.